This week we are talking about why we give. And the guys, the rest of this week, have done an amazing job really covering this topic. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch them yet. It's been a bit of a crazy week, especially if you're a teacher or a parent with kids going back to school. So if you haven't had a chance to see them, make sure you go back and watch them. But one of the reasons that we give that I'm going to talk about today is to show God that He is our priority. So we're going to look at Matthew 6, and verses 19 through 21 say, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And then skip down to verse 24. It says, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." And then the next few verses talk about worrying and not to worry because God knows what you need. And verse 33 says, "But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." And what I love about these verses is that they really talk about God being the priority. That God knows what we need, but He wants us to seek His kingdom first. And when we make Him the priority, we can trust Him to give us the things that we need in our lives. And when we're seeking Him first, we're making sure that we know that He is the most important thing. The verses that talk about not being able to serve God and money, it doesn't mean you can't have money. It says you can't serve money and serve God. So if I'm serving God and He's my first priority, then I can have money that I can use with God's kingdom as the most important thing to me. And so I love those verses. For me, I automate my giving. So the day my paycheck comes in, my giving check goes out. So it's my first priority, the first thing that happens every time my paycheck comes in. And I know some people don't like the digital money thing or they don't like automated giving, but for me, I automate the things that are important to me. So giving is my first priority and that's automated. Paying my bills is an important thing to make sure that happens on time. So a lot of those are automated so that I can make sure that those things that are a priority are taken care of and done. The other thing that I've really been thinking about this week that's kind of been convicting to me is that I want to make sure that I'm passing my values on to my kids. And so the value of seeking God's kingdom first and giving to Him and showing God that He's my priority by giving first is an important thing for me to do, but it's an important thing for me to show my kids to do. And a while back, we got as a gift this really cool bank that we use for my son that has 3 different compartments. It has one for spending and one for saving and one for giving, so that we can kind of teach him the priority that when we give him money for whatever reason, and I know everyone's household is different about how they give their kids money and when they do that, when they're ready to understand the value of it. But it helps him to understand that when he has money, that some of that he needs to give, that to show that God is a priority, that God is important, that He's valuable, that He is worthy of our worship. And then also that he needs to save some things and that that's an important skill to build in him. And then also spend. We don't want all of his money to go selfishly to just toys that he wants to buy for himself or whatever, but there are other priorities and important things to go along with that as well. So it's an important thing to know that I want him to be able to learn to give cheerfully and with a thankful heart, and that's a reflection of what God has done for us and how generous God has been to us. So that's been something that I've been kind of convicted about and wanting to work on this week and just focus on as giving, to put God as a priority in my life. So I hope that's been an encouragement to you, and that can be something that you can work on as well. And I hope that you have a blessed weekend.